Good morning, Jimmy. Thanks a lot for spending your morning to join our program to share your stories to our global audience. And on behalf of the listener everywhere, we'd like to say thank you to you.
Thank you, Ha. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to have a chat with you, an informal chat. I'm very much looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, and our show is designed for our audience to know about your journey and what made you decided to get into this industry and how you get into the work that you are doing today. And it's very honor for our audience if they can have you to share a little bit about who you are and the work you are doing at the moment. Would you please do that honor for us?
Sure. I'm a French national. I was born and raised in France, in Paris, and from a middle class family. And I decided that I wanted to do things, that might be felt unusual at the time.
Uh-huh.
And so throughout my career, I had opportunities to explore different paths, different routes, different roads, and they all led to different opportunities.
Uh-huh.
Some failure, some great success. But looking back, I assume everything. I think, I was very
Wow.
happy with that. I have siblings that are both living in France, an older sister and a younger brothers, and I'm very much a family man, so I'll try to keep in touch with them as often as I can,
Uh-huh.
in spite of being far away from home. Yeah.
So have they come to Vietnam?
They have. I've been in Vietnam for quite some time. It's going to be 7 years this October. This is the longest I've lived in one country, ever since I left France 30 years ago. And of course, being here in central Vietnam for so long,
Uh-huh.
I am one of the strongest ambassadors of central Vietnam
Uh-huh.
and Da Nang specifically, and Hoi An, because it's got everything to offer. So I didn't have to do much convincing when I say, "Hey, you want to come to Vietnam to visit me?" Usually people agree right away.
So earlier you said that you decided, and I love the word decided because that determination, you took the courage to decide to do something. You say that unusual path, right? So you do something new, some good success, some failures, and it's taken you to today. And we're gonna travel time together in this conversation to understand more of that. So when I was little, I was born in Da Nang city. In the city back then, 40 something years ago, was small and it's poor. I was raised in a very poor family also. So my first dream about the work that I want to do when I'm growing up is I wanted to become an astronaut. So flying to the moon and enjoy the bright side up there, right? But life has taken me to a very different path. So when you were little, what was your first dream about the work that Jimmy is going to do when he's growing up?
It's funny because I don't remember having a clear calling from a very early age. I was an average student. I wasn't particularly good, not particularly bad. I was an average student. And I maybe, from my family, again, coming from a very humble background, the value that my parents taught me were probably, be respectful, and the value of work. Nowadays, maybe people look at how to do less work, how to this work-life balance, that we hear a lot about. For us at home, the importance of working and all the value it brought together. So I knew I was going to be not following a career where I would probably sit behind a desk and do administrative tasks. I had low patience for being seated for too long, so I wanted to do something that was going to take me out of a desk. Where to? I had no idea at the beginning. I did a vocational college as well, so that I had the opportunity to explore what it felt to work I remember very, very early on, I had an internship in a factory that was doing upholstery for furniture, and touching the fabrics, seeing the craftsmanship of the people. That was very, very rewarding. I felt like, the happiness that you get out of, finishing a piece, that you felt you mastered, and the outcome is beautiful, and the end user is very pleased with. So the recognitions of, a work well done filled me with immense pride.
Wow.
That being said, I didn't want to work in a factory, and I was very, very, very young, but I really enjoyed the experience. Later on, talking to friends and families, and I started to get a passion for cooking, culinary. So, from one discussions to the other, the opportunity to enroll into a school to learn how to become a chef came about, and that's how it all started. So the initial thought said, listen, I'm gonna do things for other that make them happy. I'm gonna get immense pride and reward in doing so, and that is going to be cooking for people.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you grow in the family when you say that your parents teach you about the importance of hard work, of caring for others, right? So when you say that, when you decided to get into the culinary art and cooking and serve people, how did the family members say about that idea?
They were very encouraging, very supportive, and I think they, as a parent, you're probably always biased and think that, your kids are going to do well in whatever the endeavor is. So I was encouraged. There was no aversions, from my family. Oh, you're not going to be a doctor, or you're not going to be, a lawyer, because that's not where we came from. That's not where I came from. Now, should have my dream to become one of these, I'm sure they would have been equally happy. But nobody ever said to me, well, listen, this is not a valuable job, or this is not glamorous enough, or anything like that. They just wanted me to be happy in what I wanted to do, and they gave me the tools by giving me the freedom to do what I wanted to do, being supportive, exposing me to schools that were going to teach me how to be a great chef. And yeah, that was the support that I got from my family.
Wow.
It turned out I was a terrible chef. So I just want to put a stop to this story that lasted, I graduated from cooking school, etc. But at the very end, I was very good at executing, what I was taught, replicate, what I was being told to do. But I was nowhere near, the level of creativity that was required, for the chefs to become a great chef. Leadership, I didn't know anything about it at the beginning, so that came about much, much, much later in life.
Wow.
But my skill set as a chef was at best average.
Wow. and prior to the conversation, you share about you and your friend Dominic went to New York, right? And that's right after you graduate from the chef.
Correct.
Okay.
So graduated from culinary school, and then started to work in a few restaurants, and did seasons in the south of France during Cannes Film Festivals and these kind of things. And one of the opportunity from this industry, from hospitality, from cooking, from running hotels, is the opportunity to travel overseas. And I'm talking 30 years ago.
Wow.
So back then, there was a demand for, French expertise in cuisine, etc. So my friend and I said, listen, why don't we just pack and go and move to the States? We had this American dream and thinking that, this was going to be the next best thing for us. Was the mid 90s. We said, listen, we're just going to pack, go and try our luck. And all of this, without really much thought process behind it. There was no visa, no connections. We didn't know anyone in New York. We barely spoke English, if any, at all. So looking back, it was just crazy. I don't know why it happened, but we didn't feel there was any problem in not having connections, not having legal documentations to enter the States. Or having any connections. So that was the first venture into experiencing life in a different country. That was the first time.
Wow. And how long did you spend time there?
Close to a year. So we arrived in New York in maybe September, October of 94, 95, can't remember. And then, we just went to Soho, found a flat. We were living in Manhattan and we were going to knock on doors in French restaurants. I said, hey, we are here. We're looking for opportunities, jobs. And we found a French restaurant called Au Bon Coin, on MacDougall Street at the time. And we ended up, working there, primarily cleaning dishes. Let's be honest. But that was our first foray into the US. Spent a couple of months, in New York. And I don't know if you ever experienced a New York winter, but it was brutal. So we decided to take a Greyhound and travel all the way south to Fort Lauderdale, close to Miami, where we said, listen, if we're going to wash dishes, we may as well do it under the sun. And we went down to Miami.
So you moved completely away from New York. Okay,
from New York to Miami. It was very easy because what we had is a backpack and zero responsibilities except to look after ourselves. So without thinking too much, say, listen, we don't like the cold. Let's move down to Miami. And we did that for a few more months. But it turned out that even back then, without proper documentations, there's so much you can do in a US. So, after this almost a year's, escapade, we moved back to France.
And since what age you decided to seriously think about a career in hotel industry?
So, when we came back from,
so you and Dominic both came back?
Yeah, we came back because both were illegal. We were aliens in the US and we felt, listen, this was fun, but clearly, we need to, if we want ever, to grow and get a job and continue to travel overseas, it needs to be a framework around it. So we came back to France, and in France, after few months, we said, listen, it felt so good to be overseas, to travel, to experience new things, that he decided to try back, to move back to the States, and I decided to move to the UK. In the UK, I arrived in London, and I worked in Harrods. In Harrods department stores, and I work as a waiter. I worked as a waiter in Harrods for a couple of months, so this gave me the opportunity to further increase my knowledge of the English language. London was magnificent at the time because, again, in the mid-90s, Harrods, there were probably 50 nationalities, working within this department store. A lot of migrants from the from Europe, so Portugal, Spain, France, Eastern Europe, all the way to Australia. So I was exposed to a very, very broad mix of different nationalities, and everybody had the same dream of, working overseas for a couple of years, months, and to be surrounded by all this energy, all these people felt very, very good. So I did this for a couple of months, and then I had the opportunity to work at the Waldorf Hotel in London. And this is when I decided that I was going to be an hotelier. The Waldorf for me was something that, or a 5-star hotel for me was something that I've never experienced before. So I arrived at the Waldorf. So wow, all of these luxuries, this would be good to experience this as a guest. But how about I work here so that I can have this experience every day? Being surrounded by beautiful things, by people with a lot of great, interests, and this is where it really hit me. I said, listen, I'm going to do this for a living. I'm going to work in hotels.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. So that is like few months after you arrived to London, you worked for that hotel, a 5-star hotel for the first time. And then you've been, at what age?
Very early age. So I was 19 years old probably when I arrived in the UK. So I moved to the US 18 years old. Stayed a year and then moved to the UK
1920, something like that,
correct.
Right? And at that age, you've been travel to the US, you've been travel from New York to stay away from the cold winter, right? And then go to the south where the beautiful sea and beautiful sun also there. Then travel back to France, travel to England, and the world is limitless with you, with all possibilities there, right? So why you decided, at that moment that you're going to be in that industry for good?
Again, I think, I was bitten by the bug of traveling, and one of the perks of being an hotelier is the opportunity to travel. So when I moved, when I worked at the Waldorf, there were a lot of hoteliers within the hotel that came from different hotels. At the time, the Waldorf was part of the Meridian group. And within the Meridians, there were a lot of young managers that, I come from, this country or these countries, hoteliers were moving around.
So you listen to them?
Well, I listened to them and I envy them. I said, oh, wow. So if you become a manager, you can potentially, be transferred to, I don't know, some remote locations, and this felt very appealing to me. I said, oh, this is really a great gig. If I can just work in an environment where it's beautiful, surrounded by great people, and in the same time being able to travel the world, for a short period of times, where do I sign? Right? I think this felt the right career for me. And again, I was 19, 20 years old, so I knew very little about management, about how to run hotels. My first job at the Waldorf was overnight room service waiter. So I hardly saw anyone. I was just, pick up the phone in the middle of the night and deliver, odd dish, through in-room dining overnight. But I met a manager, then Mark Denton, and he became a mentor. He did a great hotel school, Lausanne school, and his passion for hospitalities, what he envisioned for himself, moving here, moving there. I think I absorbed all of this from him, and I think I was very admirative of him, and I said, hey, how do I become you? What do I need to do to have the same opportunity as knowing that I didn't do a great hospitality school or anything like that, right? So it taught me what he knew at the time and gave me, lead, what I needed to develop in terms of skill set. And he taught me the most important thing is, listening to others, being empathetic, and I was a great mentor, and I still talk to Mark to this day, we're regularly on the telephone, and again, a friendship that was formed over 30 years ago. Yeah.
Wow. So where's Mark now?
Mark is in a UAE.
In the UAE,
working
okay.
for a great company.
So you knew him through work. You approached him directly and asked him to be your mentor, or what?
I think it was a mutual, unspoken agreement. I think, first of all, he hired me. So giving the chance to a young 19 years old me who had zero experience, you know, in hospitality at that level. So I'm not saying he took a risk, you know, he took a gamble on me, but he saw something in me that he felt, you know, could be developed, could be explored, and he gave me a chance. In return for giving me this opportunity, for giving me this opportunity, I felt that it was my duty to do my job as best as I could, so that, you know, I can pay him back for giving me this opportunity. So we exchanged, we became friends, and even though we were friends, there was always a fine line, you know, a level of respect that I had toward him for being my manager. But he wasn't a strict manager in a sense that, listen, you know, I'm the boss and you work for me and that's it. So I pay a lot of attention to what he was doing. He probably sensed where the gap were, and without necessarily telling me, show me the rope on how, you know, to become a better hotelier. Can't remember how many months later, but he was then transferred from the Waldorf Meridian in London to the Meridian in Phuket. So he moved to Thailand, and we promised to each other that we were going to stay in touch. Mind you, mid-90s, we didn't have telephone, we didn't have, you know, so I don't know how we kept in touch, but we did.
So how did you guys keep in touch?
You know,
write letters?
Probably wrote letters,
or fax,
or the old, you know, phone calls from the cabin booth, or I don't know. But yeah, so we did kept in touch. He moved to Thailand, and I moved to Switzerland. I did a season in a small hotel in a ski resort in Switzerland. And sure enough, a few months later, he contacted me and he said, "Hey, I'm looking for a management trainee, to work here with me in Phuket, in Thailand." And that's how, you know, it carried on from London
to Switzerland
to then moving to
Asia,
to Thailand.
Yeah. And in Asia, Thailand, you know, like 30 years ago, it's not like recent years, right?
You know, at first I say, "Hey, I'm Parisian. I lived in New York, London. Now you want to take me to Phuket?" I said, "What did I do wrong?" Surely, you know, you something is odd. I didn't know anything about Asia. I didn't know anything about Phuket, even less. But he said, "No, you know, we have a great hotel here, with a lot of restaurants, and you know, it's a beautiful country." And again, 20 years old self, I said, "Listen, I packed my bag and I moved to Thailand." And that was my first experience in Asia. I moved to a country that was very welcoming, and Phuket, back in the days, 95, 96, great place to go.
Earlier you mentioned about your friends in Paris, say that, you know, they admire you for moving around and traveling to different continents like that, right? So when they heard, your family member heard that you moved into Asia 30 years ago to Thailand, to Phuket, what did they say?
I think, you know, as a parent, they were probably worried. I know that if back then, you know, my girls would have said, "Listen, we are going to go to the other side of the world," I would probably be, you know, very worried as well. But there were a lot of questions. You know, why do you want to do this? And then a lot of admiration as well. I say, "Hey, you know, it takes a lot of courage to pack your bag and leave everything, you know, your families, your friends, and certain comfort in terms of, you know, what the lifestyle that you are living, to a country that is very foreign, that you know nothing about." And I also felt that the courage is not to go, the courage is to stay. You know, I always look at people and say, "Are you sure you want to stay in France?" And I mean, you don't have the craving of seeing what's out there, you know, exploring new things. So different mindset for me, you know. It was not courageous to go. It was very courageous for them to stay and hope for the best. Whereas me, I said, there are a lot of opportunities out there. I don't know what's going to come out, you know, but I don't want to live with the regrets of not trying, right? So, I packed and I went, and I can tell you I have zero regrets.
So if you trace back into your family and you look at your mom's side, your dad's side, does anybody in the family have that, you know, inside of them, like that you carry, you know, like the ability to, you know, to be bold, to go into the unknown, to exploring newness, to travel, to and figure things out?
Yeah, so probably from my father's side, again, very humbling background, very poor family, you know, lived in a countryside in France. His dad was a migrant from Spain. Back in the 60s, there was a dictatorship in Spain, and my grandfather moved from Spain to France for to be part of the French army and also maybe seek a better life. There was a lot of restrictions back then in Spain under the dictatorship of Franco. So my grandfather moved to France, met a French woman, got married, and my father was born. Has got two siblings as well, in the countryside of France, and I remember as a kid going to visit very small house, you know, with the washrooms outside in a garden, and I think barely hot showers or anything like that. So I think his conditions was not set to become, you know, I think, you know, from his background, from his humble beginning, he had also probably the urge. He felt the urge of I'm not going to accept, you know, my life as it is. You know, I want to become something else. I want to elevate my social status. So he worked very hard in factories at the beginning, and then, you know, he ran very large company. But I think I always saw him being hardworking, very enthusiastic about opportunities, a bit of an entrepreneurship mindset as well. So probably comes from him, you know, we never had discussions, formal, you know, conversations about, you know, how to do things. But I think as a kid, you just look up to your parents, role models, and I say, oh, actually, I didn't say anything. I just, you know, looked at him, and I have a lot of admirations for what he accomplished, you know, in his life, and how he got out of a surrounding of a status that wasn't meant for him to become, you know, other than it was destined to be. So, yeah.
In our newness framework, the first letter N stands for notice. Notice one new thing every day. Earlier in this conversation, up until now, you mentioned a lot about observing. You're observing people, you know, from the department store, from other countries, who come and who share stories about they've been traveling and working in different countries. You observing other, you know, like people in your hotel, and they're coming from different countries, and that you want it to be like them, right? You observe, you know, if you guys been doing the dishwashing anyway in New York, why not doing it, you know, in other place, you know, where you can enjoy the sun? So that observation leads to curiosities and leading to, you know, imagination of what else that you could become. So I'm curious about when you were little, you know, where did that capacity to observe things, how it is all started?
It's a very interesting question. nowadays there's a lot of knowledge about emotional intelligence and, awareness and things like that. I don't think back then, there was so much evidence on the importance of being aware of your surrounding. I don't think I had any certitude about, what I wanted to become. I knew that I wasn't satisfied with being anchored into one place. I wanted to move around, and I think organically you look at people that have done it, and what can you learn from them? From their behavior, from their path, from their best practices, right? But to this date, it's still true. Yeah. There's not one day that I think, hey, actually, I want to have a coffee with this guy. I want to listen to that podcast. I want to read this article, because there are things that people do that you can you can maybe associate with, or say, hey, that sounds like something that I would do. That's exactly the opposite of who I am, and I don't want to go that path. But as far as I remember, I have always been very curious. Yeah, very curious. Not by jealousy. I wasn't, oh, I want to be this guy or something. But hey, this is actually super cool. I just wonder, what is this journey? What is this path? And the more people you talk to, the more you realize that we all have very, very different pathway, right? So we might end up at different places, but how to get there, it's very different from one person to the other, right? So opportunities, hard work. I believe in being committed to things that you want to achieve. And there's no shortcut for that. I don't believe so. But opportunities, luck, you come across people that becomes, a bit of a helpers, mentors, and you need to leverage on every one of these opportunities. Learn to recognize where there is an opportunity and seize it, assessing, the pros and cons. But in the early days, I didn't think too much about what could go wrong, but more, hey, what could go right if I do that? What can possibly be the best outcome if I follow that path, if I take that job, if I talk to this guy, if I put myself out there, in an uncomfortable situation. So yeah, I think,
so you ask yourself those questions?
Oh, every day. Oh, every day. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. As I say, I have no certitude. So
where did you learn the skill to ask yourself those tough questions? Because the question you ask is the first step for you to get the answer, the outcome that you can, the action taken after that, right?
I don't think I don't think I learned it. I think it's filling a void. When you don't have the answer to something, automatically you seek, you seek, the answer to how can I do this, right? So if your mindset is, well, I can't do this because I don't have the pedigree, I didn't attend the high school, I did not, work in a fancy hotel or anything like that, then you go nowhere. But if you look back and say, hey, how do I get there? Knowing, that there are probably different road to travel, which one is the best suited for me? What do I need to change within myself, in terms of ethic, in terms of, mindset, so that, I can take one step further toward, a goal, a better life, a life that is going to be a job that is going to fulfill me. So I don't think I learned formally how to ask questions. I think organically, it grew on me that there were a lot of questions out there that needed answers, and the only way to find answers is to talk to people.
To talk to people. As in all the questions you ask for yourself, it's not, at 19, 20 years old, it's all open-ended questions. So it's not like close-ended yes or no, right? So and that is skillful. So not a lot of people at that age, or even now at 40, 50, a lot of people still, I observe them still asking a yes, no question, yes, no question. And that skillful perhaps is coming, well, what about the environment you're growing up? What else that maybe role model for you? But could be, for example, like if I am taking this conversation into thinking, right? Perhaps your father was the one that, started working in the factories, and he asked himself a lot of questions. How can he grow up to the next level, to provide more for the family, to guiding, the family members for that. And the way he talked to you on the daily basics also build roots for you to the way you're thinking and asking questions yourself too.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know if it's in the DNA, quite frankly, if it's in the genes. You're probably right. I think, in the subconscious, we probably look up to role models, and be it, a father figure from family, from friends, is just looking at your surrounding. Are you content with what you have? Do you want more? And more means, or contentment means different things for different people as well. So for me, it's not, I don't put a dollar value on happiness. It's not how much more money you can make or how rich you want to be. I think it's some people it's growing a family. Some people find answers in faith. I have friends that are churchgoer and believe in God and things like that. Some people measure happiness on the number of friends that they have, or free time. So different people have different expectations as to what will fulfill them and what will make them content. So I don't know if I am different than others. It we probably all have it in us. Maybe some people wish to explore this side, and some people just are content with being where they are, living. I was about to say safe life, but I don't think it's about being safe or not safe. Again, I think it's about
their choice, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we mentioned about your dad a lot in here already, and it's not going to be fair if we're not going to mention about mom. So what's a piece of wisdom that your mom had taught you when you were little, and then you still carry with you until today?
So my parents divorced when I was very early age, I think 10 years old or something. So I lived with my mom for biggest part of my childhood, a large part of my childhood. So being a single mom, that meant that she had to go back to work. She had to. I remember spending days with her because she was upskilling herself. She wanted to learn how to become a secretary, and I remember her dropping me to school, and inside the car she had a book where she would take a note. She was taking classes at night, and raising a kid. Being a single mom must have been a very, very difficult time for her. So again, I don't think there was any sit down conversation where we formally covered, all the areas of life, but by observations. I think, you look at your parents and you see that, well, she's working hard, and I don't think you realize at the time, but I believe that that must have left a strong mark on my character and who I became as an adult, as a person, so that I knew what to replicate and what not to. Coming from a divorced family,
what not to also.
I always felt like, listen, this is not what I want to. I don't want to go that way. I think if ever I meet a partner that I marry and I have kids with. I want to make sure that the family bonds is very strong, etc. So again, looking at trial and errors, what worked, what did not. But for sure, the common trait from both my parents, they were very hardworking. They never relied on the government for subsidies or anything like that. They said, listen, you know what, we're going to roll up our sleeves. We are going to do whatever it takes to put foods on the table and provide, a good upbringing for our kids, right? So they took us on vacations. It wasn't super fancy. We were camping, but as a kid, you don't see the difference between a 5-star hotel and a tent. For you, you're just on vacation, so enjoy every single moment of it.
You're happy with it.
Absolutely. So they provided us with my sister and I, a very good childhood. Absolutely.
Wow. And then pack your stuff, move to Phuket, right? So what were you thinking about, the journey is going to be for you in Asia?
So when I arrived in Phuket, I knew back then that I was going to be serious about hospitality, right? Okay. So I entered a hotel in London, and then I moved to Phuket, and I was amongst other managers from different countries that were on short assignments, so 1 year, 2 years, to run a hotel. And this is when I say, listen, I want to do that. I want to grow within hospitality. I'm going to do this management training, and then I'm gonna pursue seriously a career within hotels.
And Mark was still your mentor.
Mark was still my mentor, and he was working there as assistant food and beverage manager, if I remember well. There was another gentleman that worked at this hotel. His name is Jean-Claude Wetzel. Is now with the Four Seasons Hotel Group, and another person that I look up to, and to this day, when I travel to France, is the regional manager for Four Seasons in Europe, some hotels in Europe. And every time I have a question I'm unsure about, or I need an advice, unbiased, candid advice, I would call him. So it's not someone that I keep in touch on a regular basis, contrary to Mark. Mark is a friend. Jean-Claude is somebody that I look up to, and in doubt, I will text him and say, hey, Jean-Claude, if you have 5 minutes, I want to run something through you. I don't think I would make a decision without having his input or his thought. I don't ask him to make a decision for me, but I will expose, the fact, the pros and cons, and listen to what he has to say.
So you're really open for feedback, but you have a group of people that really, you rely on them for giving you the constructive feedback. Right.
Yeah, because again, I don't have any certitude. I have, I think, a roadmap, I see myself, but yeah, when I'm about to make an important decisions about my career, usually there are a few people that I consult. I say, hey, what do you think? Give me how would you approach these situations? What do you think are the potential setback or risks by doing so? So yeah, there are 2 or 3 people that I reached out to share my and my family, of course, because now I'm married, I have 2 young girls, and whatever decisions I make automatically impact the family. So they should not be a casualty of any decisions that I make. They need to be part of the decision process, and as a family, we agree to do one thing or the other.
Jimmy, I have to ask you this question because a lot of people pick up their mentors because of the titles, because of what the thing that they show up on the social media, or something that that they see from the outset, but that could lead them to a very wrong path if they chose the wrong mentor, right? So for you, when you pick the mentorships, the people that you will spend time together and listen to their advices and stuff, what criteria do you have when you pick for those people?
I think, you look at the impact those persons have on others. I think, I look at bad and good, right? So I have learned from few people what are the best practices, the best behavior, the analytical process, etc. But there are some other people who I learned, exactly what I don't want to become. I think, this is wrong, and I want to make sure that I don't become that person. I don't become that friend. I don't become that partner. I don't become that manager. So, again, by observing, you can see, this is, the person I think I should be reaching out to, because the values align, with the person that I am. And I aspire to become, that person in a sense, the influence that they have on others, in a good way, the fairness in certain situations. As you step into leadership roles, you need to make hard decisions, but they need to be driven by respect, by fairness, and some people have this capability to do so, and some other on the other side of the spectrum are the worst possible people. So my choices are primarily driven by the outcome of their behavior
on others people.
Correct.
Yeah.
On me, I try to not take things personally. We discussed a little bit earlier about feedback. Sometimes they can be harsh, but you need to be open to listening to them, because only an outsider would look at how you do things and without being judgmental tell you, listen, this is what is happening. So you need to be able to absorb this. Sometimes it's painful. I say, no, why you said that? I'm not like that. But you need to pass these walls, these barriers. Say, listen, I'm going to be totally open. I'm going to take all the punches that are going to be thrown at me and learn from it, and then change. And it's not easy to do, but for me, it's easier with time. I think, when you're young, you have a lot of certitude. I know better. I know, don't tell me, I know. But with age and experience, you say, oh, actually, here at Hoyana, I have a workforce of 1,200, 1,300 staff and associates. 65% of them are below 30 years old. The amount of knowledge that I gain from listening to these teams is just amazing. It's just unbelievable. If I would walk into the hotels and say, listen, you know what? This is not my first rodeo. I've been doing this for the past 30 years. Don't tell me how to do things. That will be suicidal. But if you look at the sum of all this knowledge and you, again, absorb from it, it's tremendous. It's a massive opportunity for me.
A part of that is because you have the gift inside of you to observe also. So you have the curiosity to observe, and you're open to all, 1,000 people. And how many percent is under 30? 80%? 65% under 30 years old, right? So a lot of people will say, oh, too many people for me to listen to, or they're too young to, what can they offer? But you always have that child mind, way of thinking, what can they offer back to you? So you open the door for them to come and insights to share, right? So it's inside of you. You have that.
Maybe selfishness, right? Maybe I think about, what's the best outcome for me. But I want to give the same opportunity to others that I was given. There were people at time in my career to say, I'm going to take a gamble on that young guy, that young 20 years old, a French guy who hardly speaks any English. And I have a lot of associates, within the hotels, that I see tremendous potential. Some of them are a bit shy. Some of them are very out there. Some of them, but great ideas. We just need to take the time to listen, and give them the opportunity also to express those views. Don't judge, if anybody, actually some of them, either currently working or I worked previously, sometime WhatsApp me, text me, Jimmy, what do you think of, this or that? And again, I try to offer very candid feedback, non-judgmental, because I don't want to dictate the outcome of the thought process. Just like, Mark or Jean-Claude, they tell me, oh, you must do this or you must do that. They just put me in situations where I need to think deeper, and really explore, what I want the outcome of it to be. Not whether it's good or bad. What are you seeking? Why do you think this could be a good opportunity for you? Et cetera, et cetera. So this opportunity to work with others and listening to the feedback and their ideas is a tremendous chance that I have. If I were probably chained behind a desk in a cubicle by myself, it would be harder. But having this pool of talents, available at me, available for me to make educated decisions, it's tremendous.
Time is limited for, it is equally for everybody, but seems to be very limited for executive levels, right? And I'm sure people, like you have so many tasks to do, so many responsibilities, so many hats to wear, and to handle different things in life, right? Where did you have time and find time for, listening to other people? How do you do that?
I think, there are a lot of opportunities within the day to carve some time to listen to others. I have a schedule that is busy. It's true, but I make sure that I take time for myself, so that I have time to think, to step back from the grounding of the day to day. The time with the family is important. So you need to sacrifice on other things. For me, I don't spend a very large amount of time on social medias or things like that. Maybe it's generational. I don't have Facebook accounts or TikTok or whatnot, right? So all these chronophobe tools, I don't crave it if I don't have them, but that opens up a lot of time for me to do readings, to do. I wake up every morning around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then I go for 1 hour walk. So this 1 hour already, give me the opportunity to listen to podcasts, reflect on the day before, on the day ahead, etc. And then I come to work, and we do a morning brief. We look at what's happening within the operations, etc. And within the days, whether it's an opportunity to sit at lunch with an associate, with from the food and beverage department, from the rooms divisions, from finance or whatever. It's also, a time that I cherish. And there are times where I don't want to see anybody, it's just when it's overwhelming, you just want to be by yourself. And so I don't think it's a big sacrifice, and it doesn't take a lot of effort for me to give time. You just need to make sure that you plan it within your schedules. Like this interview, I knew that was going to be good for the both of us, because I'm sure I have something to learn from this interaction, and I wanted to put myself again in a situations where I can open up, not something that I do often, and being comfortable with being uncomfortable. So schedules accordingly, be prepared for the unexpected, because in hotels there are no Monday alike, right? I start my day with a plan, and then by the end of the day, the plan doesn't look like, what it was. Mike Tyson said very famously, everybody get a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
And this is so true. You come to work in the morning, so I'm going to do this. And then, oh, you know what? The air conditioning broke down, or somebody had an accident, or this or that. So you can plan as best as you can. There's always something that is going to make you deviate from your initial, plan.
So when it happened, what did you do to bring you back onto the right track emotionally, spiritually, and mentally again?
It's not very difficult for me.
Okay.
I get sidetracked by, by events, by pressure. Sometimes I'm still accountable for the well-being of this business. I've been put into these positions because it's a business, so it must be financially sound. There are expectations from the shareholders on certain returns, from my CEO, from other people I work with, but also from all the associates that look up to me and say, "Hey, you know what? Our jobs somewhat depend on the success of the hotels." So we get sidetracked. For me, it's again, I journal. So every day, I try every day, but maybe not so frequently. But a few times a week, I journals. I put my thought into a carnet, and I don't dwell too much on what went wrong. I think it's important to understand why it happened. But I don't like to spend too much time reliving it. Sometimes, you do, because that's human nature. It's easy to say, "Oh, I don't want to think about it." But the reality, it wakes you up at night, and you think about, "Oh, I could have done this, I should have done that." But always trying to project myself onto the next things, and understanding what my responsibilities are as a father, as a family man, as a brother, as a general manager and senior vice president hospitality within this business. So I allow myself to have doubts, to be weak at times, and to accept failures, but learn from it and bounce back and recover as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But I don't brush it under the carpet. I need to acknowledge this happened. And then sometimes it's harsher realities, the loss of a friend, of a parent or something. So everything can be disturbing you. It's just you need to maybe compartment, what feeling needs to fit in what case, right? I think if it's a mix of different emotional, that it's difficult to stay grounded. But if you compartment it and say, "Listen, you know what? These feelings belongs here. It exists. I need to deal with it." I think it comes back to emotional intelligence, awareness.
Yeah.
And I like that.
We interviewed Daniel Goleman, the father of EQ, right? And then earlier in this conversation, you touched onto the happiness part, right? And he devoted his time when he was at Harvard, because he saw a lot of talented people went to Harvard but never happy. So why? And that led him to the research for EQ. So when you say that money or title is not something that brought you happy, so what brings you happiness?
I think it's a combination of different things. I was a late family man, so for the longest time, what made me very happy is career growth, traveling, experiencing different countries, etc. And I woke up one day, I said, "Listen, I'm 36 years old. I want to get married. I want to have kids." And so all of a sudden, there was an additional requirements in my life for me to be happy. It's to have a legacy, to have a permanent partner in my life and grow a family. So I dealt with that. I made sure it happened. Then, when the kids were grown, of course, again, your priority shift
Yeah.
or expand, you know. So you don't want to maybe relinquish your interest in one thing, but in the same time, you have an entire new set of responsibilities and thing that makes you happy. So I don't think it's ever changing. It's shifting. I think that the traveling part is still very important, although again, this is the longest I have lived in one country. It's going to come to 7 years living in Vietnam. And I never thought that, you know, we will be staying so long. But it's been such a very, very welcoming countries. The warmth that we receive from the Vietnamese people. And I mean, face it, you know, Vietnam and central Vietnam specifically, the food, the landscape, the people, the weather, for me, this is a piece of paradise. And as an hotelier, I want everybody to know about it. And on a personal level, I don't want people to know about it because I want to keep it for myself. But it's got everything to offer. So, so back to your questions. Yeah, I think it's ever changing, and I think the search for happiness is not a goal. It's not, you know, oh, I arrived. I think it's a
journey.
It's a journey. It's you know, I'm just genuinely happy. I think if you think that you are going to be happy once you have a salary increment, a new car, a watch, a new, I don't know what, a new phone. For me, this is not where the answer is. This is not where true happiness is. I think, as I said, you know, some people find the answers into these questions in faith. But I don't think there's I don't think there's a finish line. I think it's a state of mind, being happy rather than looking for happiness.
Wow.
Maybe you need to think of what makes you unhappy and try to remove this toxicity of
remove
out
the
of
rest
life.
of that. Right? So
You know, there are some people that maybe make you uncomfortable, stress. How do you remove this negativity from your life?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I think that as a young self, myself being young, you know, I was probably looking for what could make me happy, could excite me, could, you know, make my life better. And now it's more like, what do I need to remove so that, you know, I have less, you know, trouble, less, you know, distractions, less things that could, you know, stop me from. There's nothing that I don't have today that I think is going to say, oh, you know, I win the lottery, I'm going to be rich. Doesn't solve all the
problem we have
the problems. Yeah, correct.
I think one of the things that people misunderstood about newness is the thought newness is when you start to bring a lot of new things to come into your life. But in fact, it's not. It's like sometimes newness is like you eliminate something that's no longer working, like you say. Maybe it's just a person in your life that no longer serve you, or you know, bring you a lot of problems, and maybe eliminate that also a newness for you to, you know, to expand into a different path in your life also. Few last questions for this conversation.
Sure.
Okay. Travel time with me, and I want to imagine this. You were sitting next to your mom when she went to night class. So you saw her books, and then she took notes about that. She wanted to expand herself, to grow herself, so that she can offer for the family, right? And then you and I are gonna get into that car. You are going to talk to that young Jimmy. Anything that you could talk to that young Jimmy about the world, about the future, about himself, about anything, any words of wisdom that you want to share to him, what is that you're going to say to him?
I would probably ask him to be kinder to his mom. Yeah, more. Again, I don't think at an early age you realize what your parents are going through. I think it's probably much later in time when you grow that, oh, you know what, because you also have the same experience, responsibilities of kids, etc. So, yeah, I would probably ask him to be kinder to his mom. But yeah, also probably, pay attention, learn the values, because I think I acquired it from them, but not by having a formal tool. Ask questions. I think,
Ask more questions.
yeah, because finally at the end, I don't think I know very much about also the upbringing, what their parents were like. I never discussed with my dad, really about his father, my grandfather, being unrooted, moving from Spain to France, living under dictatorship. What were the challenges moving into a country he didn't speak any French? So they also, I think, fought battles that I know nothing about, and it's not too late. I can still talk to my parents. Luckily, I have them both still alive. It feels a bit maybe awkward, so I don't know if it's shyness or if it's, but yeah, I would probably ask that young Jimmy to ask questions, more questions.
Yeah. Beautiful. I think we're in the car with your mom anyway back then. So what are you going to tell her?
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah.
The last question, every conversation like this, we want to give a gift to somebody that impacted your life. Okay? So I was thinking about Dominic, I was thinking about Max, I was thinking about the
Jean-Claude?
What, how do I say his
Jean-Claude.
Jean-Claude.
Yeah.
Yes. But I think that you got in touch with Max a lot, you got in touch with Dominic a lot also. So let's give something for Jean-Claude. Okay? So we're gonna cut this part, for you to send a message to him, and share anything that you would love to share to him. How he's involved into your life, had make impact, whatever that you want to say to him. What is that you want to say so that we can transfer to him?
Yeah, so Jean-Claude, you are not probably aware of the impact that you have had on my life, on my career. I'm thankful for all the advices, all the recommendations, and being very candid all the time with your recommendations, with your advice. I am grateful for your time, for your trust, for believing in the young kid that I was when we met. And to this day, I am very admirative of your success and your person that I very much look up to when I see a picture perfect of what success means in a person. So thank you very much for that.
It's beautiful. Thank you very much for this wonderful conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity once again. I truly enjoy. It was emotional. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for really open and sharing a lot of beautiful story in here. I don't think that I saw a lot of your interviews, but going to this level of personal, I think I hope you have a good time in here. It's a reflective time. You mentioned about, you having a lot of time to reflect, and maybe this is one of the opportunity to reflect and for us to learn from your journey, from the willingness to ask questions, to be curious, and to go into the unknown and start to figure out what it is, to the power of mentorship, of listening, right? Of family, of growing, expanding non-stop. So many beautiful things in here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and you're doing a tremendous job. I learned a little bit also about your journey, and I think talking openly to others, I think is this human interaction is important. I'm glad that you are reaching out to a very broad spectrum of different people with different backgrounds, different nationalities across the globe. So carry on, well done, and I hope that I can contribute to meaningfully to the conversations, and for sure I will continue to follow you and your development. Very well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.